What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news. Already this week it's been pretty lively as we had the second reveal for Into the Light, and Bungie showed off the new social space of course, as well as a bunch of the weapons that we'll get in the update. So there's already been a bunch of previews and cool stuff to check out, but today Bungie go a step further and they break down all of the Into the Light Brave weapons, and give us more details on the potential perk rolls for them, as well as some sandbox updates, and generally a better look at the weapons and what they're capable of doing. Of course we saw a little bit of gameplay of a bunch of them, and how we can acquire them through the quests in Into the Light, as well as limited edition variants, attunement, and a bunch of other cool mechanics and components of the loot update. But again, from the blog today we can see exactly what these weapons will be capable of, so we're going to break it down in the video guys. As always, I hope you enjoy this one and find it useful. If you do, a rating below really helps us out on the channel, but now let's get into it. And so heading to the blog post right here, it's pretty straightforward really. They speak a little bit about reintroducing the weapons in Into the Light. But importantly, and the key focus of the update today, is a breakdown of all of the perks that can potentially roll on these weapons. So Bungie kind of getting ahead of this one, and we're going to know exactly what we're able to roll before we even head into the update. But in terms of the weapon selection, they say, we're looking at 12 iconic weapons remembered with a smile by many players. Many of them have random rolls for the very first time, while others have updated perk pools. And the goal is to make them feel like they used to, and many retain their original stat packages, but others have been updated to achieve the feel in the current weapon sandbox. But they say, let us be clear, only the Into the Light versions of these weapons have updated perk pools, even compared to the weapons that are currently obtainable in the game. So these are unique versions of these weapons, and each weapon comes with a brand new origin trait, which is Indomitability, and many of them can roll with a new right column trait called Desperate Measures. And they say, we made sure all of the Brave Arsenal weapons were updated to the current art quality bar, and they have a consistent visual theme across the set. So firstly, for Forbearance, they say, originally from the Vow of Disciple raid, normally it requires ownership of Witch Queen and an active raid group to get it, but they want all players to experience this. And they point out the potent perk combinations of Ambitious Assassin and Chain Reaction. But they say they've updated the perk pool to include Disruption Break, Demolitionist, and more. So in the first trait column, we've got Unrelenting, Stats for All, Demolitionist, Ambitious Assassin, Surplus, Steady Hands, and Disruption Break, with the second trait column able to get Wellspring, Golden Tricorn, One for All, Bait and Switch, Chain Reaction, Rampage, and Desperate Measures. And I believe this is the trait where weapon final blows will grant bonus damage, and then melee and grenade final blows will grant a larger damage bonus that can stack. And that's one that was actually referred to as Last Stand inside of the preview, but I believe they've renamed it. So that's one of the new bonuses there, and otherwise it can get pretty much the same bonuses as what it got originally. Then there is Succession. Originally this came from Deepstone Crypt of course, and for traits in the first slot it can get Moving Target, No Distractions, Lead from Gold, Reconstruction, and then Firmly Planted, Demolitionist, and Discord, with the second trait slot able to roll Snapshot Sights, Redirection, Recombination, as well as Vorpal Weapon, Focused Fury, Firing Line, Box Breathing, and Desperate Measures once again. Here though, they talk about the Falling Guillotine Sword. Of course this is the legendary Vortex Frame, and they point out some spicy combos like Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds, as well as Chain Reaction and Surrounded, and the long-time favourite Relentless Strikes and Whirlwind Blade. But overall, the first trait slot can get Vorpal Weapon, Relentless Strikes, Repulsor Brace, Frenzy, Attrition Orbs, Chain Reaction, and Duelist's Trance, with the second trait slot able to get Surrounded, Whirlwind Blade, Destabilizing Rounds, Eager Edge, Bait and Switch, Sword Logic, and Desperate Measures. So it's going to be able to do a bunch of the stuff that the Slammer can do as well, although both of them will retain a little bit of uniqueness. And then there is the Recluse returning from Forsaken, and they say the Master of Arms perk has been tweaked to be more balanced than the previous version. And the perk setup now includes Feeding Frenzy, Enlightened Action, Subsistence, Threat Detector, Repulsor Brace, Hipfire Grip, and Dynamic Sway Reduction in the first slot, with the second slot able to get Master of Arms, Target Lock, Frenzy, Destabilizing Rounds, Surrounded, Tap the Trigger, and Desperate Measures. So there are some pretty good looking ones there on Recluse. Give us your thoughts about it down below. And it'll be interesting to see whether Master of Arms is still going to be a common choice, or whether players zero in on other options. But Mountaintop of course is coming back as well, and they point out it had a massive damage output in PvE and PvP, but they've tuned the Micro Missile perk into a Breach Grenade Launcher intrinsic instead, so it retains the functionality but gets 2 additional traits. But they point out Micro Missile has been rebuilt, and it retains PvE strength, but with decreased self-damage and a massively increased physics impulse. So the first trait slot can roll Ambitious Assassin, Impulse Amplifier, Demolitionist, Lead from Gold, Slick Draw, Autoloading Holster, and Overflow, and that can be paired up with Rampage, Vorpal Weapon, Adrenaline Junkie, One for All, Harmony, Recombination, and Frenzy. So a bit different to some of the other juicy grenade launchers in the game, but some interesting combos there. And then we get the Hammerhead, and they point out perk combinations of Rampage and Killing Tally, and Rampage and Desperate Measures. But the first trait slot can get Feeding Frenzy, Destabilizing Rounds, Envious Assassin, Rampage, 4th times the Charm, Rewind Rounds, and Under Over, with the second slot able to pair up with Surrounded, High Impact Reserves, Target Lock, Onslaught, Kill and Tally, Desperate Measures, and Tap the Trigger. And according to the devs, Rampage and Kill and Tally is going to be pretty awesome, which I guess figures, really. So that's going to be a first, and then there is the Blast Furnace as well, and they tease a potent combination of Kinetic Tremors and Firefly for PvE, and then Zen Moment and Rapid Hit for PvP. But the first trade slot can get Zen Moment, Snapshot, Shoot to Loot, and then Keep Away, Perpetual Motion, Kinetic Tremors, or Head Seeker, with the last slot able to get Kill Clip, Firefly, One for All, Frenzy, Rampage, Rapid Hit, and Desperate Measures. So give us your thoughts about that, but we get the Edge Transit as well. And they say about this, with Chain Reaction being buffed on drum grenade launchers in the final shape, the Chain Reaction and Destabilizing Rounds combo on this weapon will feature some of the most potent ad clear in the game, but there are things like Cascade Point and Bait and Switch, which are particularly synergistic for single target damage. And they say this weapon is why we pulled the Heavy Grenade Launcher buff from the final shape into the March update that we got. But the first trait slot can get Chain Reaction, Cascade Point, Impulse Amplifier, Field Prep, Ambitious Assassin, Envious Assassin, and Repulsor Brace, with the second trait slot able to get Frenzy, Destabilizing Rounds, Deconstruction, One for All, Bait and Switch, Full Court, and Explosive Light. So it's a pretty juicy one, and there's plenty of options there depending on what you want to do. Cool to get Bait and Switch on there too. But here they talk about Luna's Howl, and they say it's now a 140 RPM precision frame hand cannon, and they've redesigned the Magnificent Howl perk, and the number of precision final blows before reloading affects the total rounds granted with increased range and damage. And then precision final blows with Magnificent Howl active extend the effect for additional rounds. They say it will allow for 2 taps, but more effort will be required. And the first trade slot can get Eye of the Storm, Subsistence, Discord, Encore, Slide Shot, Enlightened Action, and Heal Clip, with the second slot able to roll Magnificent Howl, Kill Clip, Incandescent, Desperate Measures, Opening Shot, Precision Instrument, and Harmony. So I think there are going to be some pretty good PvE and PvP rolls there, but share your thoughts on it below. We get the Midnight Coup returning as well, and they tease things like Outlaw and Rampage, of course the old school combo, but also Firefly and Kinetic Tremors together, as well as stuff like Moving Target and Zen Moment. But the first trade slot can get Outlaw, Firefly, Shoot to Loot, Explosive Payload, Moving Target, Attrition Orbs, and Enlightened Action, with the second trade slot able to get Rampage, Kinetic Tremors, Zen Moment, One for All, Frenzy, Opening Shot, and Desperate Measures. So it looks pretty cool there. I'm a big fan of explosions, so Firefly and Kinetic Tremors looks pretty cool. But here we get the Hung Jury returning for the manyth time. This time around, the third column can get Rewind Rounds, Enlightened Action, Kinetic Tremors, Rapid Hit, Shoot to Loot, No Distractions, and Loose Change, with the fourth column able to get One for All, Cascade Point, Box Breathing, Firefly, Precision Instrument, Desperate Measures, and Explosive Rounds. So let us know if you'll be going for another iteration on the Hung Jury, but finally, we have Elsie's Rifle, or the Stranger's Rifle, and we're now getting the legendary version of this, coming with Void Damage, and the third column can get Feeding Frenzy, Zen Moment, Repulsor Brace, Loose Change, Keep Away, Under Over, and Rewind Rounds, with the second slot able to get Adrenaline Junkie, Frenzy, Destabilizing Rounds, Kill Clip, Desperado, Desperate Measures, and Head Seeker. So there you go, guys. That's a breakdown of all of the perk rolls for the upcoming weapons in Into the Light. Not necessarily something I was expecting to get from Bungie, but it's always cool to plan, and let us know down below which weapons you'll be chasing down with what perk rolls. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this quick video today, and if you have, a rating below very much helps us out on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, I hope you guys have an awesome day.